princess. That is immoral. Immoral.
I think personally
and let
that
us
the
all
Democrats
agree, one does
well
not have
placed
to abandon their
and
faith
well ascertained
or deeply held
positionally to
beliefs to agree
do
the
what is
government
right for
should
the
not be telling her
people.
what
It is
to
like
do.
Nigeria, where people come back to start because they want some benefit after the election. But the election is now practice. The sales to the people. And just bring to attention one of our
And if he
brothers,
wins, Donald Trump will go further. He will sign a national abortion ban. You best believe. And he would create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. It's right there in Project 2025. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Simply put, they are out of their minds.
That attitude to make a change, that attitude to recognize as one of those big progress is country.
Why don't they trust women? Well, we trust women.
Although I live abroad, but every time I come here, I end up with the scholarship.
And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. And across our nation, in addition to that, we are witnessing a full-on assault on other hard-fought, hard-won fundamental freedoms and rights. Let me just say something. Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The president and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now.
If those people can come over there and make a lot of strides.
So back to this election and Donald Trump. So in addition to the fight on the fundamental freedom to make decisions about one's own body, I have been traveling our country, and the people of Georgia know what I know. There is a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights, including the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe, gun violence.
I was really told myself, putting tubes for people to eat, so they can regain their life and all this stuff. So how are you going to come back? Once people cry shy, Americans are very...
And an attack on the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride.
You cannot come back when you try to destroy the country.
And we will fight against all of that, including the freedom to live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis. Here's the thing.
I have a daughter who's a lawyer.
Generations of Americans before
she was in high school.
led the fight for freedom. Now, Savannah, the baton is in our hands.
Thousands of people in several minutes, several hours. So I'm looking forward to that.
So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks and red flag laws.
who's going to get the job done. But you cannot bring in the mediocre to get the job done. Who cannot even speak English?
So
Like
much
our
is on
APC
the
brother in
line
Edo
in this
State,
election.
who can't even open his mouth and speak
So
correct
much is
English.
on the
Yes, sir.
line.
You have to be specific.
And
The
understand,
APC
this is
contending
not
governor, is it
2016
Pueblo?
or 2020.
Okay, yes. Sir, he
Things
cannot
are
open his
different.
mouth and speak
A lot is
adequate
the
English.
same
Talk less of
when we
going to
think about the
America
issues,
to
and
meet
then there
so many
is significant differences. The stakes in 2024 are even
Yeah.
I know,
higher.
like you said, when you see
Because
things working
consider
abroad,
that the
I'm glad that we
United
had
States
two
Supreme
elections,
Court
almost running into
recently
the
just
US
basically
elections.
told
And
the
they just say,
former
how we
president
compare them down different
that
levels.
going
But
forward he will
it was
be
really
effectively
nice to thinking about
immune
what's coming
no
back
matter
home.
what
As
he
an
does
American
in the White
myself,
House.
it would be great to hear your evaluation of the race so far. And I think it's important to establish
Now
these facts
just
because, like I said,
imagine,
he might
well,
not
the
speak
courts are
the
going to
English
take care
language
of
to the
that.
level
We're going to
that
get him
you
out of,
know, it's an
we're going to
appreciable
elect
level that
ourselves
you'd
and
like, but he
everybody
just,
here
he
in
can't he's
November.
a senator on the federal republic. So he has an SS, he has a skill set, those
But
certificate,
I mentioned the
certificate, so
Supreme
he
Court
can
ruling
communicate in
because
English. I think it's good to
understand
establish that.
what this
But
means.
when we
Just
talk about
imagine,
service, as
before
you
there was at least
describe the
the
American
threat
election,
of
what do you
consequence.
see that come out as of at least the
Understand what
three
it now means, and
frontliners, the three
imagine
frontline
Donald
candidates
Trump
of
with
the
no
Edo State
guardrails.
gubernatorial elections? Only 18 more days to go.
Imagine what that
Okay,
means
when
when
this
you
whole thing
consider
started,
he has
I belong to a
openly
small
vowed
group
that if
made of
reelected on
doctors,
day one,
lawyers,
he
and
will be a
everything
dictator.
from Edo State who live in America.
That he
We are
would
all from different
end
states. We invited
that he would
Okero
end
to
the
talk to us on
independence
Zoom.
of the
They refused.
Department of
We
Justice
invited
so he could have unchecked
Igalo. They
power
refused.
and
We
seek
invited
vengeance against people
Apata.
who
He was
disagree
with
with
us for
him.
4 hours. So they were pre-made questions, which include agriculture,
He
rural
even
development,
called for termination
education,
of the
and moving
United
our
States
state forward so that we can now
the
start
supreme land
investing,
of our
putting
nation,
estates
the United States
in our state
Constitution.
and creating jobs.
Think about what that
Because
means,
when
and
the
let us be very clear.
Edo State's
Someone who
chairman came, he
suggests
said that the
we
reason why
should
they don't
terminate
grant
the
all these
Constitution of
interviews,
the United
for instance,
States
on TV, because they
should
don't have data
never
in Edo State, so
again
they just go
stand
door to door.
behind the
They don't
seal
have
of
money
the
to
President
subscribe
of
to
the United States of
digital
America.
platforms like some of these big
Never
TV
again.
channels. Is that true? Is that maybe that's why they bring
That's
all
not
the
true.
invitation too?
So
Because
it
if
all
you see the
comes down
lavish
to
homes
this.
in those states,
We are all here together,
me that lives in
spending
America
this
can't
time
even
together
afford those
because
homes.
we love
So you
our
can't tell me
country.
that they
We
cannot,
love our country.
you know,
We
afford
love our
those
country.
kind of things. That's why they cannot
And
watch
we
the
know
country.
the
It's not true.
privilege and
But I just
pride,
think there has to be
the
an issue
privilege
why this young man
and
is
pride that
avoided
comes with being
quite a
American.
bit. I think there was an
And I
argument
do believe
here
it is
where
the
you were talking
highest
to the
form
APC
of
chairman why it's
patriotism
not
to
coming. And
fight
I
for
took the
the
time
ideals
to
of our
kind of watch
country.
that tape. And there have been thousands of comments from Edo indigents.
That is how we
And I
realize
personally,
the
be
promise
honest with
of
you, feel
America.
that the Asian
Georgia,
people,
for the past two
my brothers
election
and sisters, they are the
cycles,
most educated.
voters in this
Engineers,
very
doctors,
state,
lawyers.
you who are here,
When you pick
have
somebody
delivered.
who wants
You
to
sent
provide service,
two
you
extraordinary
look at
senators
them.
to Washington,
You are providing
D.C.
service. You are not coming to just, you know. So the problem with politics in Nigeria
You
is just
sent
we
President
are not
Biden and me
providing
to the White
service.
House.
We are just taking what comes with that package. So as long as we're taking
You showed
what
up,
comes with that package
you
and we're not
knocked on
providing service, we will
doors,
continue
you
to have problems in
registered
this
folks to
country.
vote,
Okay,
and you
when
made
you
it
look at
happen.
the
You
race
did
in
that.
Edo State,
You did that. And so now we are
okay,
asking you to
and
do it
we not
again.
just said we're going to necessary the manifesto
Do
that
it
we have.
again.
Do you think has
Let's
some
do
big
it again.
plans? Or you can talk through some of the manifestos
So,
that you have
Savannah,
read, because you guys are
are you
stakeholders
ready
in
to
the
make your
diaspora.
voices heard?
And you play a very major role. And most of your research also goes into your
Do we believe in
and I'm sure
freedom?
as well, you're holding a thing of influence on the states. So
Do we
we
believe
were
in
not what we said at the
opportunity?
time.
Do we
Apata was the
believe
only
in the
one who
promise
came
of
and
America?
spoke with us. So
And
out of the
are
three,
we
he's the only one
ready
I'm
to
going to be able
fight
to
for
accept because he
it?
was the one that came. In terms of
And
agriculture,
when we
he
fight,
came up with a plan that
God
Edo
bless you
State
and God
produced
bless the
excessive
United States.
amount of
Good
pineapple.
noon,
So he
Savannah.
could now buy this pineapple from the farmers and pay them,
Good
and then
afternoon.
sell that
Oh, good
pineapple
afternoon.
to
Oh, it's
the
good to be back in
people processing it.
Savannah.
So
Good
the state will take it
afternoon.
over. But For example, plantain.
Can we
The
please
same thing
hear
he
it for
said.
Caitlin and
You
her
know, so all those things are very, very important to us. So if I'm sending my
incredible
grandmother or
leadership. Look,
somebody
when I
in the
look
village
out at our
who's
young
producing
leaders like
pineapple,
Caitlin, I
and the
know
state is
our
able to
future is
guarantee
so
that
bright. It
this
is
field of
so
a pineapple,
bright.
I'm going to buy it when they are ready.
I want to
And
thank
truly, they buy
Mayor
it.
Johnson.
You know,
Thank you
that's
for your,
what
there you
what's the
are.
resident to go to government to buy the
We've been
pineapple.
hanging out for the last 2 days.
Well,
Mayor, I thank you
the
so
state
very
has
much
to
for your
come up with
leadership.
credits
Thank
to
you.
help. So then we
Congresswoman
went into
Nakima
education.
Williams, the chair of the
We went into
Democratic
education,
Party of
which
Georgia.
we brought that education in the state is going down.
Sister-elect,
So education in the state is going down
and to
where
all the
you
leaders
see
with
somebody
us
who calls
today.
himself a
Good
graduate cannot
afternoon.
write
Good
a sentence.
afternoon.
Or when they write you a little note, you can't even read it. So those are
I
educators.
also bring greetings from our
Well,
president
there are
and a
several.
great friend
Like
of
one of
the
the
state
guys
of
who is
Georgia,
in this
Joe
group,
Biden.
to connect back in education is going to help out. Presently now, Basaki is doing
And let us also send our love to the
Yaro
great president
for
from the state
great
of
people
Georgia, Jimmy
who
Carter.
are working themselves, walking from 8 to 10 hours every day, cannot find a road
So,
leading to their
Georgia,
house,
I love you back.
cannot find
Love
a
you back.
street that can take them to the next road
And
to
we
get
have
home.
68
So
days to go until this election. 68
what
days
is
to
service
go.
is to make your life easy. That's
And
what
I
service
think
is
you all
about. We
have
hope don't make
spent
people
your
like you.
time here,
And education and
sacrificing
power
all
is
your
not going to
other
make anybody's life
obligations to
easy.
be
So
here
education is
together.
important. Education
Us
is
as
important.
one
But
community
you
know
have a
we all
building there
have
already.
so much more in
So
common
you could clean that
than what
building up
separates us. And I
and
thank
continue
you
from there.
for
So
taking
what
that
you need,
time.
putting a new house, putting this, when people who have worked
And
8 to 10
so
hours,
we're here to
left
speak
over
truth. And
6
one of the
o'clock
things that
or
we
8
know,
o'clock,
this is going to be
go
a
to
tight
work,
race until the
coming
very
back,
end.
they cannot make it.
Okay?
I went to Benin
So
this
let's
weekend.
not
I
pay
could not
too
make
much
it to my own
attention to the
father's house,
polls
where I grew
because
up.
we are running
That
as
road
the
was
underdog.
done by Ogboniya
Okay?
in 1973.
And we have
I
some
still remember
hard
the
work
day I was
ahead of us.
getting ready to go
But
to
we
school.
like hard work.
Ogboniya
Hard
came
work is good
in
work.
his car
Hard
with
work
a
is good
shovel,
work.
and my dad was sitting in the front
And
of the
with
house.
your help, we are
So
going
when
to
we
win
walked
this
towards my dad, we were
November.
all shocked. Took the
We are
shovel,
going
just
to win this
giving me
November.
work to see if it was
Yes, we will.
If I show you some of the pictures of
So
road,
look,
what they
Georgia,
were
let me say,
in New York, sir,
I'm
by
no
Yarrow,
stranger to tough
yes,
fights.
that's where I grew up. In Yarrow.
Before I was elected
that's
vice
where I grew up.
president,
So
before
go
I
to
was
my mom's
elected a
house. I couldn't
United
even make
States
it there.
senator, I was an
I
elected
couldn't.
attorney general, and before that, an elected district
This
attorney.
is interesting. I mean, you've been in the U.S. about 40 years.
More
And
than
before
that,
that, I was a
You
courtroom
left Nigeria, you
prosecutor.
said, I
77.
1977. Now, you asked your question.
So every day in the courtroom,
You see,
I
you
stood
said,
proudly
why are we
before
cost
a
or are we
judge,
cost?
and I
Yeah.
spoke 5
So what have
words.
you observed? Even
Kamala
in the course
Harris
of
for the
BPC,
people.
apart from the way, like from the airport to Benin, the Laos, how Nigeria has fared. Because some people will say, well,
My
we haven't
entire
done
career,
too
I've
badly.
only had
After all,
one
there is
client, the
democracy,
people.
there is infrastructure. Some states, there were
I
rural
stood for women and children
settings
against
in the
predators
past
who
have now
abused them.
developed
I
over
took on
time.
the big banks and
You seem not
delivered
to be too
$20
impressed.
billion
I'm not.
from middle-class families
When I
who
left in
faced
77 those days
foreclosure.
to go to Murtala Mohammed was still going on that
I fought
construction.
against cartels who
Then
traffic
you
in
get out of
guns,
the
drugs,
plane
and
and
human
then
beings.
walk
And I
to the
stood up
timeout
for
and
veterans
get
and
into the plane.
students being
You
scammed
go
by
there now,
big-for-profit
the
colleges,
same thing that
for
was said
workers who
in the
were being
70s are
cheated
still.
out of the
The
wages
new
they were
airports
due,
that they said they just
and for
commissioned,
seniors
which I came
facing
through when I
elder
came now,
abuse.
I was
And
very
I will
disappointed.
tell you,
If you go to
those
Sacramento
fights were
Airport,
not easy.
which is
And neither were the
Sacramento is the
elections
capital
that
of
put me
California.
in those offices.
The airport
But
in
we
Sacramento
never gave
is
up.
better than our
Because the
international airport
future is
in Lagos.
always worth fighting for.
So what are we doing wrong? That we
Always.
cannot get it right. Okay, take from
And that
getting out
is
of
the
the
fight
airport,
we are
heading
in
towards
right
Benin.
now,
Look
a
at the road on
fight
both sides.
for
Can you tell me anything
America's
scenery that I can
future.
jump out and say, take me a quick picture? So I
We
can share it with my
fight for
fellow
a future
Americans.
with
There's
affordable
none.
child care,
So right now,
paid leave, and
okay, you get into
affordable health
Lagos.
care.
The only thing that I've been so impressed with since I've been here, this 4.5 days,
And on on
is
that
coming from
last
Benin.
subject, let's
When you get to
finally
Efe,
expand
West
Medicaid in
Lagos.
Georgia
we want to ride them. Leads.
so people can take
That's
their
some
child to a
improvement.
doctor or go to an
I'm looking
emergency
forward
room
to that.
without
So
going
I'd
into
like
medical
you,
debt.
following the evaluation of the state visiting, what's one of the quick wins for whoever
We
emerges as
fight
governor? I don't
for
know
a
if you're going to be
future
voting
where
on
we
this, but
build
they
what
get me
I
running once you
call
have your
an
ABC.
opportunity
No,
economy,
we don't vote.
so that
What we do back there
every
is that
American
we give money
has
to
the
people to
opportunity
make sure they go out and
to
vote.
own a home,
We pay for
to
transportation
start a
and
business,
mobilize people to
and to
vote, which is what we
build
do during
wealth
the March
and intergenerational
during
wealth.
the second term. I was personally very involved in that second term of capacity because for
And a
Oshomole to
future
come
where
out
we
and
lower
say
the cost
the guy
of
went
living for
to
America's
University of Lagos,
families.
he was not,
So when I was
you know,
Attorney General, I went
qualified something or
after
whatever that
price-fixing
argument was at
schemes.
that time. University of
And
Lagos is a
love
problem.
you back, love you back.
It's been going on for a long time. That's when I got involved.
And I will
That,
tell
hey,
you,
give me a break. I mean, not
when
go
we
to
get
University
this done
of
together, my
Lagos,
friend,
but University of Lagos is well known and
and
well,
when I am
very well
president, I
funded.
will
Well,
take
if you
on
just
the
do
bad
quickly
actors who
enough
exploit
for
a
the people with
crisis
this reservation.
to
Yeah.
rip off
Yeah, I would like the next
consumers
government to
on
address it immediately.
everyday
The next thing the
items.
government needs to address is to
Who rip
work
off
with people
consumers
in
on
diaspora to
everyday
come
items
home
like groceries. I will take on Big Pharma and
and
cap the
put their
cost
money
of
out there.
prescription
Okay.
drugs
Yeah,
and
I'm putting my money
insulin
out in
for
the corner.
all Americans.
Developing estates and developing things like that. Those are millions
I will take
of
on
money
the
that you put
high
out.
cost
Okay.
of
Yeah.
housing
So
and
you
work
you
with
give money. Who
developers
are the
to
people you
cut
give
the
money
red
to? Go
tape
and vote for.
and build
Those
millions
need
of
the
new
stress of all.
homes.
Those are the
And I will give
like just in their labor
100
parts. No,
million
I've never met so
Americans
many.
a
All
tax
the
cut,
people that are giving
including
money, which party are they going to vote for? Because
$6,000
people can say
to
that that's voter
families
inducement.
during the
No,
first year
what we
of their
do
child's
is
life.
we arrange for transportation for people to go out and vote. They don't vote for you. It doesn't matter
Understanding
who they voted for.
folks just
So they
need
just
a
go and
little
vote for
help
anybody.
from
Anybody
time
they
to
want to.
time, and it's
And you
not
arrange for
about just
transportation.
getting
Yes.
by, it's about getting ahead.
I can tell you from the last
$6,000
election
in
which
the
they
first
did,
year
you
of a
know, I was
child's life to
one of
help
those
pay for
who
that
paid
car seat or the
to
crib
arrange for
or the
transportation.
baby clothes. And unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working class families first. Always. I come from the middle class. I know what I'm talking about. And Savannah, but we got some work to do, okay? We got some work to do because we know Donald Trump has a very different plan. He has a very different plan. Just look at his Project 2025 agenda. Right. If he is elected, Donald Trump intends to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. And he wants to impose what in effect is a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities. And it will cost, the economists will tell you, it will cost a typical American family nearly $4,000 a year. So Georgia, on top of all of this, if Donald Trump wins in November, he intends to end the Affordable Care Act, to take us back to a time when insurance companies, we're not going back. We're not going. We are not. We're going forward. And the reason we know we can't go back, to your point, the reason we know we can't go back on the issue of the Affordable Care Act, remember what that was like before we had the Affordable Care Act? Remember when insurance companies had the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions? Remember what that was like? Children with asthma, breast cancer survivors, grandparents with diabetes. So yeah, we're not going back. going back. We're not going back. And we will move forward. Ours is a fight for the future. And it is a fight for freedom. Like the freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. And understand how we got here. When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did just as he intended. And now, more than 20 states have a Trump abortion ban, including Georgia. In fact, every state in the South, except for Virginia, has a Trump abortion ban. And think about that. Many, with no exceptions even for rape and incest. That is immoral. Immoral. And let us all agree, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do. And if he wins, Donald Trump will go further. He will sign a national abortion ban, you best believe. And he would create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. It's right there in Project 2025. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Simply put, they are out of their minds. Why don't they trust women? Well, we trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. Proudly. And across our nation, in addition to that, we are witnessing a full-on assault on other hard-fought, hard-won, fundamental freedoms.
These mouths going on with it. So forget
Hey, let me just say something. Hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me just say something. Let me just say something. We are fighting for a democracy. Everyone has a right and should have their voices heard. I am speaking now, but on the subject, I will say this. The president and I are working around the clock. We've got to get a hostage deal done and get a ceasefire done now. So back to this election and Donald Trump. So in addition to the fight on the fundamental freedom to make decisions about one's own body, I have been traveling our country and the people of Georgia know what I know. There is a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights
including the freedom to vote, the freedom to be safe what the situation is.
from gun violence, and in a
so that none of them are
openly and with
the age
pride.
that will be how would
And we
any
will
problem
fight
with that
against
kind of
all
thing
of that, including the freedom to live free from the pollution
they
that
can
fuels
discuss any
the
other thing.
climate crisis.
Here's
Here's the thing. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom.
That one.
Now,
Here was
Savannah, the baton is in our hands. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Amendment Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. We who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass universal background checks and red flag laws. So much is on the line in this election. So much is on the line. And understand, this is not 2016 or 2020. Things are different. A lot is the same when we think about the issues, and then there is significant differences. The stakes in 2024 are even higher. Because consider that the United States Supreme Court recently just basically told the former president that going forward he will be effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now just imagine, well, the courts are going to take care of that. We're going to get them out of, we're going to elect ourselves and everybody here in November. But I mentioned the Supreme Court ruling because understand what this means. Just imagine, before there was at least the threat of consequence, understand what it now means, and imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. Imagine what that means when you consider he has openly vowed that if re-elected on day one, he will be a dictator. That he would end the independence of the Department of Justice so he could have unchecked power and seek vengeance against people who disagree with him. He even called for termination of the United States Supreme, the supreme land of our nation, the United States Constitution. Think about what that means, and let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Never again. So it all comes down to this. We are all here together, spending this time together because we love our country. We love our country. We love our country. And we know the privilege and pride that comes with being American. And I do believe it is the highest form of patriotism to fight for the ideals of our country. That is how we realize the promise of America. Georgia, for the past 2 election cycles, voters in this very state, you who are here, have delivered. You sent 2 extraordinary senators to Washington, D.C. You sent
Yeah, phone get
President
it off.
Biden and me to the White House.
Phone Ghana on our WhatsApp.
You showed up. You knocked on doors. You registered folks to vote. And you made it happen. You did that. You did that. And so now we are asking you to do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So, Savannah, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe